Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most specific and, surprisingly common engine error codes out there, P0306. Think of it as a direct message from your engine. And trust me, understanding what it's saying can be the difference between a really simple fix and a catastrophic failure. So whether you've seen this code pop up yourself or you just want to get to know your car a little better, you are in the right place.
Oh, we've all been there, right? You're just driving along, minding your own business, and boom, that little orange engine icon lights up your dashboard. It's just a universal moment of dread. But really, it's just your car's way of talking to you. The only problem is, it's speaking in code. And today, we're going to translate one of its most important messages.
So what is this code? It's P0306. The P stands for powertrain. The 03 tells us it's a misfire, but that 06, that's the crucial part. It's pointing its finger directly at cylinder number 6. You can think of your engine like a team of rowers in a boat. One of them, number 6, has just stopped rowing, and it's throwing the whole thing off balance. Now, how that light shows up is absolutely critical. If it's on and it's just steady, that's a warning. Your car is basically saying, hey, you should probably get me checked out when you get a chance. But if that light is flashing, that's a whole different story. That's an emergency. It means a severe misfire is happening and your car is screaming, pull over now. And here's exactly why that flashing light is so serious. When you have a severe misfire, your engine is dumping raw, unburned fuel straight into your super hot exhaust system. This can literally melt your catalytic converter, which is a vital and very expensive part. Ignoring that flashing light can turn a pretty small problem into a bill for over $1,500. Yeah, no thanks. Okay, so the engine's told us where the problem is, cylinder 6. The next question is why? This is where the detective work begins. We're going to start by looking at the 3 most common culprits. You see, for a cylinder to do its job, it needs 3 basic things: a spark to get things started, fuel to burn, and compression to make it all go bang. This means our investigation is going to focus on 3 main areas: the ignition system, the fuel system, or some kind of internal mechanical fault. And most of the time, the problem starts with the spark. So let's break that down a little further. When we say ignition, we're talking about the parts that make the spark. So the spark plug itself, the ignition coil, or maybe the wire that connects them. For fuel, it could be something like a clogged injector that just isn't spraying fuel the way it should. And for mechanical, well, that could be anything from a simple air leak to more serious internal issues like worn-out piston rings. But here's the good news. Before you even think about calling a mechanic, there is a super simple test you can do yourself, right in your driveway, that will often pinpoint the most common cause of this code. So, you ready to play detective? All you really need is a basic tool, maybe a socket wrench, and a little bit of logic. Let's get into it. This is called the ignition coil swap test. It sounds technical, but it's not. First, you just need to find cylinder 6 and another easy-to-reach cylinder, like number 1. Then, you're literally just going to swap their ignition coils. They usually come off with a single bolt. After you've swapped them, you use a simple code reader to clear the codes, take the car for a short drive, and then you scan it again. The big question is, did the problem move with the coil? If your scanner now reads P0301, a misfire on cylinder 1, then congratulations, you just solved the mystery. The problem wasn't the cylinder at all. It was that faulty coil that you moved. You've just diagnosed the issue yourself, and the fix is as simple as replacing that one bad part.
But what if the misfire code didn't move? Why does cylinder 6 seem to be the problem child in so many different engines? Well, the answer actually lies in its physical location, which, it turns out, puts it at a serious disadvantage.
Yeah, one source really put it perfectly. Because it's the final cylinder in the physical layout, number 6 faces a unique set of challenges. Basically, being last in line makes it the weak link in a lot of engine designs. This whole last-in-line problem plays out in 3 key ways. First, fuel delivery. It's at the very end of the fuel rail, so if the fuel pressure drops even a little, it's the first one to get starved for fuel. Second, cooling. It's often the farthest cylinder from the water pump, so it just naturally runs hotter. And finally, mechanical stress. Being at the end of the engine means it gets hit with the most vibration.
And these vulnerabilities, they show up in really unique ways depending on the engine. On a classic BMW inline 6, that extra heat can cause the head gasket to fail right at the back. On some GM V8s, there's a fuel-saving part called an AFM lifter that is known to fail specifically on, you guessed it, cylinder 6. Pretty much every engine design has its own little quirk, and often that's where you'll find it. Okay, so you've done the coil swap test, but that pesky P0306 code is still there. This is the point where you've pretty much reached the limit of a simple driveway diagnosis. Now it's time to talk about when to put the tools down and hand the keys over to a professional. This is the clear dividing line. If that misfire stubbornly stays on cylinder 6 after you've ruled out the easy stuff, like the coil and maybe even the spark plug, it's a sign that the problem is deeper. It's probably a fuel delivery issue or, more seriously, an internal mechanical problem. A professional mechanic has a whole other set of tools for these deeper issues. They'll probably start with a compression test, which checks how well the cylinder can seal air. A low reading there is a big red flag. They can follow that with something called a leak down test, where they actually pump air into the cylinder and just listen to where it's escaping from. Is it hissing out the exhaust pipe? Bubbling in the coolant? That tells them exactly what's failed inside.
And of course, this brings us right back to the cost. A simple ignition fix you do yourself might be under $200. A clogged fuel injector could run you around $500, but if that compression test fails and you're looking at a serious mechanical repair like a head gasket, well, the cost can climb much, much higher. And this is exactly why getting the right diagnosis is so important. So, the next time that check engine light comes on, you'll know what to ask. That P0306 code isn't just a random number, it's a specific clue. The real question is it pointing to a simple fix, like a common cold? Or is it an early warning sign of something much more serious brewing deep inside your engine? Understanding that difference, that's the key.